But the visitors will be without their fast bowler, Kagiso Rabada, who's been suspended after a run-in with England's Ben Stokes at Lord's. The fast bowler pleaded guilty to using inappropriate language after dismissing Stokes on day one of the first test. Beyond the Games, Lance Santos has more.
Well, it is all smiles here at England training at Trent Bridge. It is a ground they love. They lead the series 1-0 after thrashing South Africa a few days ago at the home of cricket at Lord's, and they have the momentum behind them. Joe Root, the new skipper, getting a marvellous result in his first game despite being struck down by flu. Moeen Ali as well, taking 10 wickets in a game. They come into Trent Bridge knowing that South Africa are somewhat on the ropes. England could knock them out, and it'd be hard to see South Africa getting up off the canvas if England can deliver another killer blow. Remember, Stuart Broad loves this ground, as do England. They haven't lost here in 10 years. In fact, the last time they played here, Stuart Broad skittled the Australians out during the Ashes, taking 8 for 15. Now, a man who's tasked with guiding Stuart Broad and bowling alongside him is Mark Wood. We spoke to him a little earlier about the mood of the England camp and the fitness of his captain. And Joe Root, speaking of the first captain in charge, must have been a lot of fun going out there seeing him. How sick was he? He seemed quite ill with the flu.
Yeah, he lost his voice. He's just about got his voice back now, but now it's gone to his ears. He can't hear very well, so we'll have to adapt again on the field. To be fair, he was easy to talk to as well. Rather than shouting from slip, he would run down to the bowler, so it made my job a lot easier.
And now that he can't hear, no dodgy running in between the wickets.
Exactly, so South will be looking for that run out. I've just given them a tip there, so yeah, watch out, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He copes pretty well with anything thrown at him. You'd think the captaincy would put him under more pressure, but he seemed to thrive, getting 190, so anything that's sort of put in front of him, he sees it as a good challenge and one that he really wants to take on.
And this England side really growing nicely at the moment. I mean, it's hard to find a weakness comparing it with other sides around the world as well. And you've got Ali as well. It says he's a batsman, but he comes in and takes 10 wickets in a game.
Yeah, I think more for me he's a genuine all-rounder. I think as a side we've got a good balance. It's actually nice that we've got sort of 6 bowlers with Liam Dawson as well. It sort of takes the pressure off me a little bit. It's no secret I've had problems with injuries, so to be able to bowl 4 or 5 over spells, quick on, quick off, and then we get someone else on really does help me. We've got Chris Wokes here today and Jake Ball who've played in the last year and done really well, so there's depth there and there's pressure on the guys that are in the team to back it up and do well. South Africa will be desperate to do well here and put right what happened last game, so we know that they're going to come hard, so that's another challenge in itself. We've got good memories at Trent Bridge here. We managed to win the Ashes here, so I suppose if the crowd can be our 12th man here again, we can hopefully put some more pressure on South Africa.
Well, incredible memories, Stuart Broad, 8 for 15 here. But let's quickly, last question, speak about South Africa. They've got their captain back. Is that worrying for you guys? I mean, do you think they'll be a lot stronger this time around?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think Rabada's a big miss. He's a hell of a bowler and someone that, as an opposition side, you look at and think he's a real threat. I think it's a sad situation that he has to miss this game, if I'm honest. Even as an opposition player, I think it's part and parcel of the game, but that's what the hand he's been dealt. Faf coming back in is obviously a big player for South Africa and a captain, a leader, and we know how good he is, so that'll definitely raise spirits and he'll bring that drive and that fighting spirit that South Africa have had over the years to that side and make them dangerous again, so they'll be desperate to put things right.
Well, Mark Wood there, possibly giving away a little too much information on his skipper, Joe Root. Now, turning our attention to South Africa, and don't they just have it all to do? It's been a disastrous year for the Proteas, crashing out of the Champions Trophy, losing the ODI series to England, and now staring down the barrel of a Test series. The coach has had to fly home for personal reasons. Faf du Plessis is back. That is a big positive for South Africa. Their captain, fantastic. Dean Elgar stepping in last week. Didn't do too bad a job, but you could just sense that they missed Faf there. AB de Villiers, of course, choosing not to play this Test match. There are question marks over his future, question marks over whether he should be allowed to choose which games he plays. But that is a story for another day. Right now, South Africa have an England team that are very much in the mood. Now, we spoke to a senior statesman of the South African side, Morne, Morkel, and he's under no illusions of just how tough the task ahead is going to be. Morne, thanks for your time. After the results at Lords, has it been a sort of tough, intense week in the South African camp?
Not really. It's a quick turnaround until Friday. It's important for us to put that behind us and look forward to Friday. 4 test match series is a long time, and we had a bad game, and that's life. So it's important for us now in the next 2 days to get our skills right here and come Friday and compete.
And you got the skipper back. How's Faf after the babies? You got a spring in his step?
Yeah, awesome to have Faf back. He was the chosen one months ago to lead this team, and he did that very, very well in Australia. And to have him back here in these conditions where he's done very, very well in the past is great. So to have your leader back, and especially that strengthens the batting lineup as well, is awesome for us. And hopefully we as senior players also can support him on Friday and make his job a little bit easier.
And as a senior player, of course, one of the most experienced in the side, Faf spoke afterwards at his press conference with Dean Elgar, saying the mistakes cost us. The fielding was quite un-South African in a way. Is that something you guys work on this week, or do you just say, right, that was a bad day, that's not like us, we need to up it?
I think so. The work ethic, the way we train, we set very high standards for ourselves, and in sport, unfortunately, you're going to have those sort of days. They give, with no balls, unforced errors, those sort of things, to give England batters the opportunity to go on and give them 2 lives. It was very costly for us, and for us, like I said to us earlier, it's just to move on from that. It's part of the game, learn from the mistakes, and like I said, we're going to challenge each other on the field as a group and as a unit, and hopefully we can come out stronger in the second test match.
How frustrating is it in the field when you got Joe Root there and you had the chance to get him?
No, like I said, it is frustrating. He's the sort of guy you want to get out early. He's the leader of the pack as well. So you want to target those sort of guys. And like I said, if you give those guys more than one opportunity, you're going to pay. And we definitely pay the price for that.
Speaking of England, you played against a few England sides. Is this one of the best you've ever played against?
Definitely up there. But I think when in 2008. When I toured here, they had a very strong sort of top 5, top 6. So yeah, I think it's a combination between this year and 2008.
And speaking of these conditions, this looks like in previous tests, I think the last one was a Broadguard 8 for 15. It's a kind wicket to day one seamers usually. You must be relishing that.
I remember watching that Ashes Test match, and arriving yesterday here when it was raining, I thought to myself, okay, conditions might be a little bit similar. But like I said, we can't control the overhead conditions. We can't control those sort of things. It is for us. On the day, on Friday, 11 o'clock, we need to be on the money. Winning the toss, we've only got a 50% chance of that anyway. So it's a matter of preparing ourselves mentally for that. Whatever we do first, make sure that we put our peg in the ground and stand up and fight.
And a lot of the talk this week's been about a man who won't be there, Kagiso Rabada. What's he been like? I mean, he seems like a young guy that's so eager to play. Watching him in the nets earlier, he wants to get involved. Is this hurting him not being involved?
Definitely, he's a guy, he's a competitor. He loves to compete. So I think we're definitely going to miss him. I mean, his energy to be able to bowl long spells, to bowl fast spells, is going to be missed. But once again, it's opportunity for a new guy to step in and put his hand up. But yeah, it's unfortunately what happened to KG. I think we're all grown men, and we like to play the game hard. And like I would like to see that change. In international cricket, that's why we play this game. That's why it's called Test cricket. So it's a pity that KG got schooled like that. But we have to also respect the rules of the game, and just move on and not focus too much on that.
And as you had a word with you, I mean, how much of a mentor role do you play now? I mean, you've been in the South African side for ages now, over 10 years, and the Test side. Do you view your role change from just bowling to now actually mentoring the young guys like KG and Dile?
Yeah, I mean, they've got very mature heads on their shoulders. I think for me, it's not to feed them too much information. I think sometimes the best thing is to sort of learn your own trade. We've got an open door policy where whenever he wants to find out something, whenever he wants to talk about the game, we're there. But I always find if you can work things out for yourself, that's the best way going forward. And with a little bit of guidance here and there, And you know, I certainly think that's the best way to go about it. And KG, like I said, he's got a fantastic head on his shoulders. His record is speaking for itself. And so for us, it is just basically sometimes for those guys to give him some advice to when to rest and to put the ball down and not to think cricket. You know, he's so eager to play and just wants to bowl, you know, every day, all day for long spells. And yeah, just to advise him and those sort of things that, you know, he still needs to play for another, hopefully 15 years, and to look after his body and to eat right nutrition-wise and those sort of things.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you about looking after your body. You can speak to him quite well on that, give him some advice. I mean, there was a time where it was touch and go whether you might be able to play again. I mean, the mental strength that must take from you thinking, right, I might not be playing again, to be back here now. How does that give you the go-ahead knowing that, hey, this test could be my last?
Yeah, I mean, it was a sort of reality check for me. You know, you've got all these plans. You're going to play against England and in India and in Australia, and all of a sudden you do one doctor visit and they say you're done. So it's just a sort of reality that, you know, when you're out there in the field, you need to enjoy it, and you know, every ball, every spell, every game can be your last. And you know, that's definitely sort of attitude I walk onto the field with, is just to go out and enjoy it. You know, it's such a privilege to play for this team and to be involved in Cricket South Africa and to play in the international scene. So to make the most of it and then sit back one day and have a beer and say, well, I've given it my best, you know, that's the sort of thing that you play for every day.
And do you still get nervous before the test?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, that butterflies is necessary. It sort of prepares you for the battle ahead. You know, because you take a lot of strain in your body, toes, knees, you know, shoulders, all those sort of things. But I think that sort of butterflies, that nervousness, prepares you for what's to come. And you know, it's always a good thing to be nervous. You know, that adrenaline is what makes you bowl 150, and you know, it makes you wake up in the morning and say, listen, I want to do that.
And speaking of that adrenaline, watching you against Lords and stuff, there are times where I thought, well, Morne definitely going to bowl a bouncer next. He'd be angry about it. But how do you keep yourself so calm in those situations?
I think it's just to read the situation, when to go with the short ball. You know, a lot of their guys are quality players with the short ball. So, you know, is it a waste of delivery, or are you trying to push the guy back? So it's reading the conditions, reading the pitch, reading, you know, the condition of the ball. And yeah, if you get a bit of a sniff and you feel like you've got a bit of energy, and then attacking a little bit of the short ball.
Thank you, Morne. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. Well, Morne Morkel there, very cool, calm and collected as always. South Africa, as he said there, will really miss Kagiso Rabada, a young fast bowler in the prime of his career. What was interesting to note, though, was how both Mark Wood, the English bowler, and Morne Morkel felt that Rabada should have been playing in this game. The bowlers clearly a little bit worried about the decisions the ICC are taking and possibly being a little too soft, taking the sting out of the game, because this is going to be a fiery test match. England have the chance to knock South Africa to the ground once more, while the Proteas, they have Faf back and they need to bounce back to turn this year around.